all my videos are in stereoscopic 3D, and this causes huge problems with YouTube's new player. Click the first link in the description. This is gonna open a Flash version of the YouTube player, which fully supports my videos. If you don't plan on watching in 3D, or if you're using Mac or mobile, then click the second link in the description. That will open a 2D daily motion version of this video. You gonna stay up now? Are you gonna run normally? You gonna let me get through my intro game? Good simulator. Good simulator. Hi there. Welcome back to Stereo 3D Productions. Hey, it's been a pretty busy holiday season. 4 videos so far, 2 art videos, the first that Euro Truck Simulator video, and then Project Cars. So I'm even doing the first impressions thing, and in the Project Cars video, you may have heard me mention Assetto Corsa. And if you follow my ARC Let's Play series at all, in number 28, you may have noticed that I thanked Eincrou for gifting me Assetto Corsa. Well, he watches my channel, and he saw the Project Cars video and saw that I was on a dilemma about getting Assetto Corsa. Except it was on sale. I think it's still 50% off right now as of making this video on December 27. And he saw it and he picked it up for me, and I can't thank him enough for that. It sort of completes the trio for me of big sims that support virtual reality. And let's get to this. Let's get right to this. So December 27, sit down here. I've already installed the simulator. I fired up. I read instructions online to get it working with the Oculus Rift. And my dilemma is sort of being confirmed right now. Let's put aside the driving, let's put aside the graphics, let's just say you get either iRacing, Project Cars, or Assetto Corsa, install it. How quick will you get to operate in virtual reality? Let's add complexity here. My setup happens to be a separate driving station. Again, I'll reiterate, I said this in my Project Cars video, in my Euro Truck Sim video, the workstation is behind me right now. So is the keyboard, and so is its main mouse. I do have a secondary mouse here, but that's all I got. If I were to rank just on that, on like the ease of use, you'd have, right away I can tell you, I don't need much more stick time with Assetto Corsa to tell you it's last in the rank. Project Cars would be number 1, iRacing would be number 2, and Assetto Corsa number 3. It was... Look, there's some older games that have experimental support that are much easier to get running than this one. Not only does Assetto Corsa require an older SDK, not only does Assetto Corsa not support direct mode, not only are there no menus whatsoever in the VR version, but on top of that, it's one of these that requires you to make the Oculus Rift your primary monitor. So this is pretty much the worst case possible scenario for me. Once you're in the Rift, you're gonna notice something weird. Why am I looking slightly to the right? Well, there's another thing. I've even mapped a recenter key on my steering wheel like I do for all racing sims that don't allow you to remap a button for that. And it doesn't recenter my yaw. What I have to do is I actually have to launch the Oculus demo scene, center my yaw in there, exit the demo scene, and then launch Assetto Corsa. So now you're probably gathering slowly but surely that this one is really going to be a punk with your configuration. It's going to be like, no, you gotta earn your ride. And that's what I've done so far. I've gotten through the thick of it. I was a little disappointed with the choices. There's very little open wheel car choices. I am a very, very, very huge open wheel enthusiast. It's mostly what I'll be driving in all simulations that I run. This is why I like iRacing. It's got a lot of mainstream open wheel cars, from the lower leagues to the higher leagues. Project Cars has quite a few, but doesn't have the IndyCar. But still, Project Cars has quite a few. But this one is like, from what I've seen so far, 5, 6 maybe? If you were some kind of Joe who had a lot of money and wanted to drive an F1 without having the massive cost of a whole support team, you would purchase this car. It's the Lotus Exos 125, if I'm not mistaken. So I really do feel like I'm sitting in an F1 right now. The cockpit scale is amazingly accurate. This feels a lot like iRacing in this respect. And another thing I must say right away, you know, you put on the Oculus Rift and you swing your head right to left and left to right, the performance is there. I can see it right away. I don't even need to see the frame rate right now. I think it's gonna stick at 75. And here's the deal. I'm looking out in the distance right now at the scenery, and the graphics are very high setting. And I'm recording right now. In fact, let me check if I am recording, because I'm actually worried about that. Yeah, I am. Wow. First thing I can say is that the performance is staying with me right now. This is amazing, actually, for VR performance. And I'm noticing that the graphics are really good, too. It's not like I had to lower much settings here. I turned off the FXAA because MSAA was already on. Aside from that, I pretty much got the thing out on max, on out-of-the-box settings, you know? Ooh, I almost lost it. So, a little hard to talk while driving at Spa. I want to slow down a little bit, but I do want to check out the track and the driving. I have checked out the driving so far, and whoa, like here, I'm going to stop for a second here and come back on the topic I was on. I can see a lot of scenery here. I don't even know if the frame rate dipped at all. And everything looks really good. I see fog, I see particles, man, I see distant details, so the AA is on full effect. And this is feeling 75 to me. I see the lighting. I gotta mention this I first felt in iRacing. It was really amazing. When you got the sunlight going about your hands like that, your in-game hands, your brain sort of gives you that sort of cue that it's kind of saying like your hands should feel warm right now because the sunlight is hitting them. You might think I'm crazy if you never tried VR, but if you have, you know what I'm talking about. That sunlight is so real that it actually has an effect on you. Now, can I get iRacing running this graphically well? Probably, but believe it or not, iRacing can start chugging while I'm recording, which is why I wouldn't actually configure iRacing at this high a level, because it would dip below 75. This does not appear to be dipping at all. Like, this is actually impressive. I don't get how Project Cars runs at 45 while this appears to be steadily holding at 75 without a single problem. And here's something that's actually a piss-off. You heard about all the configuration backflips I had to do to get this working the way it should, like the freaking all the way down to the recentering. There was something weird to do, you know? Well, I held it. Oh my god, I held it. So you heard all the configuration backflips I had to do. What a bummer that one sim has a great operation but bad performance. The other sim sort of has everything in between and has great simulation, but doesn't quite have the performance, doesn't quite have the support. And then this one has a really, really good simulation, not enough cars, and a UI that really, really is a pain in VR because you gotta do all this freaking configuration backflipping. Yet the performance is incredible. See, I wish I could merge all three simulators right now into one big super sim. They could take aspects from one another. When it comes to the simulation itself, the driving, so far, now that I got a bit of time in an open wheel, this is as realistic. I want to be cautious when I say this. This feels as realistic as iRacing. This is really good simulation. And this is also probably because it's running so well. If you remember in the Project Cars video, I said that precision and accuracy depends on your simulation running well. And because this one does, it's giving me this buttery smooth level of accuracy with the car, and thus, nothing really unexpected to someone who knows how a race car behaves will happen. Like, I sort of know what to do when the car does something right away. I don't need 30 hours with the simulation in order to figure out what it wants from me. So, in that respect, the driving's great, the performance is great. This is very similar to iRacing. Graphically, it's superior to iRacing. Right off the bat, my only complaint would be, and I tried turning all the PP effects off to see if it would help, but it gave me a black image in the Oculus Rift, so I stopped doing that. There's too much, like, the light is a little too bright. Sometimes you're coming into a turn, there shouldn't be any of that ridiculous glare, yet there is, and you can't see the freaking apron of the turn coming up ahead. I can understand that in real life scenarios that'll happen when you say you're in a tunnel and you're about to exit the tunnel. Yes, that it'll look very bright outside, but sometimes it's doing it in scenarios where it just shouldn't be doing that. Whoops. Oh, Christ, I almost got it. So, simulation-wise, great. Graphics-wise, great. There's only a few flaws here and there that I could probably adjust over time, but you can probably understand that I'm not too keen on toying with configuration right now, because I'd have to basically stop the simulation, make a change, then restart the simulation, check what it did, stop the simulation, make a change. So it's really, really, really annoying in that respect. And this is where the simulation, at least for VR, shoots itself in the foot. Because this is a really good simulation. If this had, say, Project Cars UI and iRacing's car selection and track selection, this would be a tie with iRacing. The only reason it wouldn't beat iRacing is I gotta bring that back. iRacing do have the advantage of the laser scan tracks, and that does a massive difference. Now, their disadvantage is that they have to update those scans when the track changes. However, their rendition of the track at the moment it was scanned is unbelievably accurate. So, to the developers of Assetto Corsa, take that as a word of encouragement for when the DK1, the CV1 comes out, when the commercial Oculus Rift comes out. Don't let us down. We will stick around and we will use your simulation. And if you make cars, we'll buy them. Yay! Yeah, we'll buy the add-on packs. I'll mention on the add-on packs, this is starting to look a lot like iRacing in terms of cost. The only difference, again, being that iRacing have a monthly subscription. But I had found the packs for Project Cars to be much, much, much cheaper. Whoa, yeah, there I go. I found the packs to be much cheaper for Project Cars than they are for Assetto Corsa. So that's a downside, need a slightly larger wallet, but then again, the experience is a little more accurate than Project Cars. I want to say realistic because Project Cars, I think, really hurts itself with that VR performance. I can't really recommend it, and given its price point, and the fact that, put aside the monthly subscription, the add-on packs are pretty expensive. The simulator is a full-price title. If you're looking for something and you're hesitating between the three and you were really okay with the cost of Assetto Corsa, I would actually immediately recommend iRacing instead right now. For a VR driver, it will give you less of a hard time with UI, less of a hard time with configuration. It works better in VR. It's been better adapted for VR. Granted, you'll have to adjust your graphics, especially if you like recording and posting your videos. You'll have to adjust those graphics. It seems to struggle more specifically when you're recording. So, If you're not recording, you'll probably be able to run flat out with 75 frames per second with iRacing. It tears me up to say this. I'll be honest with you, it tears me up to say this because the performance is so damn good in Assetto Corsa. I don't know why they just left it at where it is. Maybe they don't have a large enough team to go and constantly update the bloody SDK, which I have to admit, some of the updates were pretty brutal to implement for developers, especially 0.7. That was probably the hardest one to add. And they probably saw that coming and said, you know what, screw it, we'll wait for commercial. I really hope that's the case, because should they add full VR support in this, man, is it going to be an excellent simulation. Then I'll be torn on telling you which one between Assetto Corsa or iRacing I'm telling you. Because then I'll be like, the only difference really is the monthly subscription is a pretty fucking good simulator. I'd recommend Project Cars, of course. I don't want to say that I'm leaving Project Cars out of the equation here. Just Project Cars has that performance issue. I've been told, by the way, that the flicker issue that I had with SLI is not supposed to be like a known issue or something, that it might have been an issue with my setup. So if I get a solid 75 out of Project Cars with SLI, I'll revisit it definitely. But the fact that it would take two 970s to get running at full out with graphics that are somewhat comparable to what I'm seeing now in Assetto Corsa, it's still too damn demanding. This is just using one 970 right now, and it's doing fine. If you're looking for realism, you won't complain using this simulation, especially if you're just using a monitor setup. Very standard, run-of-the-mill setup for racing. This, I think, supports the 3 monitor setups, so this would satisfy you great. This is a very good simulation when it comes to that. Whoops. Alright, so now I'm talking, and I've noticed that pretty much covered everything you gotta cover about a sim, except for like a whole bunch of cars and a full review, because this is, after all, a first impressions video. So what I'm gonna do now is extend this first impressions to a quick lap, or at least an attempt at a quick lap. Here we go. I didn't even hit anything in my other test. Yeah, normally you'll always hit something. I do feel a shake right now. I think it's debris though. I think it's like all the shit that got on my tires from spinning off. This is something that iRacing does not bad. Project Cars had something weird there going with the damage. The race I did in my first impressions video is actually a pretty good example. I bent my left suspension. The AI sort of stayed there while I was passing it and bumped me. And I could actually see that when I was going in a straight line, my steering wheel was like that. It was a bit crooked to the right. And that should have had much more effect on the simulation. That should have made me nearly incapable of doing good times. So it's a bit forgiving in that respect. I'm not gonna go and make that a huge minus, obviously, because it's really hard for simulations to get the actual damage right. It's one thing to get the driving correct. Damage is a whole entire other story. Now, what was cool about Project Cars is that I had been used to iRacing, which doesn't have much visual damage. When you crash and damage the car, you don't really see much happen there. It's rare that even a wheel will come off. But in Project Cars, it's always dramatic, like the wheel comes off and you see your wing tumbling in front of you. The problem is after that, the car is still kind of drivable. So, a little difference in that respect. I'm not going to call that a disadvantage, just a difference. It's just a different take. Project Cars went for that more dramatic look in the crashing that's more akin to a driving game than a driving simulation. Whereas these simulators, yeah, I don't know about this one. We should try, actually. Let's go crash this car. We're going to go see. I know I didn't do this in the other simulations because I just came up with the criteria right now because these are fucking first impressions videos that I just basically, I have no script, you know what I mean? But I feel like it's an important thing to cover, and I am well versed on the two others by now to know what their behavior is and to describe them accurately, but I have not done anything with this simulator yet in terms of damage, so let's go crash this car. Let's go get hurt. Let's go VR dive here. Let's see how it feels, let's see how it goes. I'm gonna completely screw up this turn. Oh, shit. No. Oh, no, what is the... I know I checked the box. I guarantee you people that I did check the box. I literally checked the damage box. No, I didn't check itself. This fucking... See, and now I want to go check in the menu and I can't because of this whole freaking UI issue where I'd have to literally stop my game, stop the recording, go check what's going on, and then come back. Let me see if I can still use this. Okay, there's... No, okay. See, this is a la iRacing again. Very comparable to iRacing. The car doesn't appear destroyed, but it drives like a drunken piece of shit. Let me try to go faster. I can feel a rumble in the steering. I can hear sort of crackling noises. Oh boy. Is this even gonna pull through the track? Okay, yes it will. Oh boy, no. Oh shit! Okay, the damage is properly simulated in terms of the driving, or I don't know if it is because I can't see what I actually did to the car, but visually, I don't know if it's in the replay somewhere, but I see nothing wrong with my car. iRacing actually does this a little better because you do see your bent suspensions. You see what's causing your car not to work well. Just what I found in iRacing is in the process of the damage, the contents that gets broken doesn't come off the car. Whereas over here, just nothing happens at all to my cockpit. This looks like an intact car, but right now I think I have a rear right flat. Yeah, and I might be lacking a wing, but it's still there. Yeah, this car shouldn't look the way it does right now, but when it comes to the damage, this car is crippled. Okay, the fans are cutouts, just like in iRacing, so that confirms one of the graphical features. But you know what? I think they're doing it right. I think that's where Project Cars shoots itself in the foot. It tries to be so pretty by putting all these mesh assets on the side of the track, and it lowers the frame rate of what otherwise could be as good as this. This is freaking perfect in terms of performance. So that's what I said earlier. I was torn on saying that iRacing right now is the #1 for VR. If you have the wallet to take Assetto Corsa, you have the wallet to take iRacing for a year and even get the cars you want. Alright, I should be recording. Gotta race to the race. Race to the cockpit. There we go. My edge is correct this time. I don't know why last time it was dim. So this time I'm literally letting them go where they want. I even took it easy on the start there. Here. Again. So the sim will never disappoint. You're always going to see this at the start. And that guy almost hit me. So compared to Project Cars, I can barely race out of the box. Look at this shit! In Project Cars, I gotta run to the damn driving station, sync the cam, hurry up, here we go. So I've done many takes of this so far, recorded a few of them, and if it doesn't disappoint, this is gonna happen again. The cars are all just gonna bunch up at the first chicane and do stupid things. So I'm just gonna go ahead and watch and let them go. Because here's the problem now. They're so retarded when there's other AI around. One AI is actually really good at lapping, but then when they clump up, they become mentally retarded. And here's the problem. I have the AI on 98% right now, and it's actually pretty damn good, and I don't know the track enough to go as fast as they do. But the problem is, as soon as they approach another car, including yours, they start driving like a 5-year-old child, trying to control these cars with an Xbox controller. And suddenly, when they're clear your car, suddenly they're driving it right again. So I don't know what the hell is going on there. I guess that's the wind right now on the car. That's actually pretty cool. Let's see the guy behind me. I'm definitely not fast enough on this track, that's fair. But it's taken me a lot of takes to get this far without any weirdness happening. So I'll lift a little bit and just follow this guy. See if I can improve on my time and maybe pick up a few spots eventually. But I'm really unfamiliar with this track. And what's going on right now, that's normal. That's normal. I got passed by one car, and what surprises me now is it didn't act like a 5-year-old retard with an Xbox One controller trying to control a real Formula 1 car. So that's cool. See how he is on the braking though. Okay. He's actually okay on the braking. I've seen a lot of weird situations when there's too many AI together, especially at the start, it gives for terrible action. You're looking from your car and you're like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on? But once the race starts and the cars split apart, their individual driving is excellent. I gotta give it that. But now the problem is as soon as they get close to you or anything else on the track, they start racing really weird. Now it's clear, as you can see right now, that I'm almost letting the guy go because I'm just not performing well enough with this car and track combination. I'm just right now trying to keep it there. And it does help when you don't have any pushy McPush-push driving AI behind you pushing you off the track. This happens when there's two cars behind you. It happened to me a lot at the start. You get a couple of free spots. from that sort of wreck at the beginning, which always happens in the first chicane. There's always a wreck. So you get through that, you get 2 cars behind you, and then they come back, right? Because they're pretty good, and I'm not doing so good on this track. And you come to let them pass, and the guy who's right behind you just pushes you. He just pushes. This happened at least 4 times. I did some takes off recording. I did another one on recording, and similar things happen. It's the first time that I actually have a clean run here. And it's because I told myself, you know what, take it easy. Don't really fight for it. Let's just see what the cars look like once it's started up a little bit, you know? Because I obviously don't know the track well enough to remain within the pack the whole start. I'm not very interested in staying with the starting pack, as you've seen from the way they behave. So, a little late on the braking here. Well, fine. So, essentially, the AI looks like it knows how to lap. It doesn't really look like it knows how to race, though. It's pretty hard to pick up the pace on this track. I'm gonna have to look at some laps and everything. I'm really, really unfamiliar with it. Normally, I put a lot of work into learning tracks. I'm already at the point where I can comfortably, quickly lap on it. Let's put it that way. This happens very quickly in VR now because you get so many cues in the driving. Here we go. I don't know if I'm being lapped or if this is for position. There we go. There's a couple of cars behind me. Try to protect my spot here. Take a shorter line. There we go. I think it's the last lap. I'm not sure. Alright, it's not. Damn it. Damn it. Well, that ruins an otherwise good experience. So they know how to make you feel the pressure when they're alone. See, those guys aren't paired up together, all bunched up together, bumping each other, trying to pass you at the same time. So that actually felt pretty good. I don't know why. When there's more than one AI around you, this seems to be the rule of thumb. If there is more than one AI, you're in deep shit. They're gonna do something stupid. However, 1 vs 1 so far, I don't have much to complain about. Yeah, I really gotta work on this turn here. There's a couple of areas where I'm really slow on the track, which I'm aware of, obviously. I looked through the list. I could have taken something I knew better, but wanted to add that in the mix. And it always may make for a more entertaining video. Maybe it was a bad idea. Maybe I should have taken something I knew better, but there's not that much I know. This is very European track based. I think Laguna Seca is in this. I would have loved to do Laguna Seca, but still. Surprised I managed to stay close enough to the guy. I really fucked up that turn back there because I could have held him off. I'm just having problems catching back up with him now. Try to take care of that. Doesn't say that the race is over yet. See what happens when you try to make up for lost time? You end up doing that. Alright. Oh yeah, car's damage. That's well done. It feels like I took this thing in the grass and it's sort of all coming off right now. The car doesn't hold the way it did. It's proper. Nobody behind me. The race is probably over coming out of this turn. I think I put 4 laps. I don't recall exactly what I put. I definitely need more practice on Monza. So there we go. I am dead last. That was for position right there. When it comes to, like I said, in conclusion, 1 versus 1 was actually kind of cool. It got my heart going, and obviously got my heart going a little more because I know I'm not good enough on this track, and I see a freaking car in my mirror, so it drives you nuts, right? It puts the pressure on you. That was accurate, except what you saw at the start is not very dignifying for any AI in any video game. That was pretty bad. If I could show you all the other takes that I did where I wasn't recording, because I was just trying to find out how the sim goes, it was really bad ones. There's the moment where I started to say, okay, I'll hang back at the start, and there's one of those starts where there was one car bouncing between 2 other cars, and it just wouldn't stop. It was just dancing around there, and I refused to speed up and try to pass that pack. This is obviously going to destroy my car immediately. But if you... I don't know exactly how I could use this AI. I found the one in Project Cars to be so good in that respect. They're not hitting each other as much, and they especially don't brake late and bump right into you, which I've seen a lot of the AI do during my other takes. This is the first take where I really did not get wiped off the track, and I think that the big difference was that I managed to get that field to thin, and then they came at me one by one, which is probably the way to go. If you have 2 AI coming up behind you, one of the 2 will hit you, because they'll simultaneously try to pass you. It's sort of as if they made you their main target both at the same time. It's really annoying. This was, on the other hand, cool, although my performance was mediocre. Not familiar with this track. I would need some more time, but I think it's just that I take a track that I don't know, it increases the challenge on me and gets me a bit more into that, you know, fiery mode where I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on? And I think, you know, that's an appealing part of racing itself. I think it's important to have that element in our first impressions video. Something that I didn't quite do in my Project Cars video. I took tracks that I knew. Watkins Glen I was way more familiar with, so I can already clock a time on that track. Still gotta work on those standing starts, but over here I would still have waited and let other cars go on their own, even though I knew I could win the race. Just because of the way they behave at the start, I want to get caught up in that shit. Alright, so this covers Assetto Corsa at the very basic level with the lapping and everything. It's an excellent simulation, top-notch, that right now does not have enough of a complete VR support to go ahead and recommend as the go-to simulator to VR simmers. Suggest to stick with iRacing until the day Assetto Corsa gets a little better and has a little more UI to show for VR simmers. If you actually race with monitors and you don't have any VR and you got your steering wheel and everything, it's really down to your choice. Look at the selection of tracks in Assetto Corsa, look at the selection of tracks in iRacing, do the same for the cars, look at the add-on packs for Assetto Corsa and the purchasable tracks and cars for iRacing, and then make your choice based on that. The simulation quality is nearly par, despite the fact that iRacing has laser scan tracks, which does give them an advantage, gives them a slight edge. The racing is really good in this, and I think differences, especially in a screen, will be very difficult to tell between the two, even though one has laser scan tracks. So it really comes down to your personal choice if you're not using VR, but if you're using VR, go for iRacing. So that's it. Thanks for watching Stereo 3D Productions, people. This is Budweiser signing off, and oh, if I don't get to make another video, Happy New Year, people. I did manage to post a couple of Christmas Day videos, but I don't get anything else done other than this one, well, Happy New Year, Happy 2016, and I'll be looking at doing a top 5 again this year like I did last year, so that's gonna be fun.